down a little bit, come back up. And I like to hit a lot of news. I like to do things that people actually sit down and watch, maybe not DVR. Although I find that when I'm watching something live, I'm trying to fast forward it, and on DVRs, I forget to do that. But that's just me. I digress. Anyway, I try to stay in things that are live, that people watch, and really go across the market. So TV's been very, very good to us. We will continue to do TV. Our digital online strategies have probably been, honestly, weak, because I've had different advice what to do, and I try to stay ahead of the trends, and see what's going on. But I think until the last 6 months or so, when we got really serious that we needed to do a new website, Jean is our IT guru that works here with me, and we talked to so many different companies about how to do this, and decided we're going to be our own contractor and pull people in. And Pat, plug for Pat. Pat has been incredibly instrumental in helping me do some new strategies that we can talk about. But I find it incredibly fascinating, and really, it's fun. Come on, this is fun stuff.
It is fun stuff. And forgive me, this is I think I opened up, this is my first blab session. So I'm looking at some of these comments, and thank you for putting those in, or tweets maybe. I'm not sure where the stream is coming from. I think they're tweets. And somebody asked, what is inbound marketing? And I guess I should probably paint that picture before we kind of talk about what you're doing from an inbound marketing standpoint. To me, this is how I describe or explain inbound marketing to people. In its simplest terms is it comes back to findability online. And are you doing the right things online to get people to find you when you know that they are actively looking for what you have to offer? So in Jan's case, it's maybe a personal injury, unfortunately, that maybe it's a car accident, that either a family member or a friend is doing some searching online to help their loved one. Maybe it's somebody who needs help with bankruptcy or Social Security disability. You name it, they've got a lot of practice areas, but we are turning to the search engines today to find the answers to our questions.
Different clients have different needs as far as being out online. Did I jump on top of you there? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I didn't mean to. Because and you and I have talked about this, that if somebody has been in a car accident, their need is a little bit more immediate. They're looking for help right now. What do I do? Sometimes it's the family sitting in the waiting room looking for help for their family member. Some of the other practice areas we have, nursing home abuse. Unfortunately, we even have to have that. But many times family members do more searches to say, really, what is going on? There's more information I need to know. Is this crossing the line? I'm not sure. So some things do take a little bit more search time. Some things are immediate. I need help right now. Social Security disability, people tend to look a lot. So the more information and things we can have out there we all do that. How many of us self-diagnose on WebMD? Come on.
Yeah.
We all go out and look things up. Yeah.
I think in your industry, it's upwards of 85 to 90% of people actually look online when they're looking for a law firm or a lawyer or an attorney. So inbound marketing, the first prong is findability. Are you developing that high quality content? Are you optimizing that content appropriately to be found? Is your website optimized? Are you participating in social media? That's one side of it, is getting found. And I think a big part of it, which fascinates me, is that traffic that you're generating to hopefully your main website. Is it creating leads that ultimately lead to, in your case, clients, Jan? I think strategically thinking about that lead nurturing process and what kind of content and touch points we need. Maybe a lot of people aren't going to be in the market ready to pull the trigger immediately, depending on the practice area that they're looking for. But how are you keeping in contact with them? How are you dripping them with relevant, educational, compelling content to kind of keep them interested in you, so that when they do need a lawyer or an attorney or a law firm, they think of Galen Takis, Boyes, Nolan, Schaefer. So to kind of put a bow on this description definition of inbound marketing. That's sort of what we're talking about here. And I think from a law firm standpoint, I'm not aware of a lot of law firms, certainly locally, that are doing the full extent of inbound media. A lot of them are doing content generation, social media participation, certainly,
yes.
SEO for sure, and they've got beautiful websites, but are they doing everything that we just kind of talked about inbound marketing comprising of? That I don't think so.
No, and I see some of the some firms, and I belong to a couple different national organizations that I participate in, and I take a look at other people's sites. There's a lot of attorneys that say if you write a book, everybody's going to find you and publish this book. And they have books that you can buy and basically ghostwriters, and then you can put your name on it. We don't do that. We've never done that. It's kind of an old school way to do business, I think, and well, some people would say TV's old school, but I think some of the things that we've put together, some things I've seen, infographics. I love reading infographics. I find those quick, easy to the point. Some really nice ebooks that you can lay out for me quickly that I can use as reference, and not have it be a sales pitch, but instead it becomes information sharing about what I need to know. And I don't want to jump ahead of you, Pat, but we had put one together on, what you need to know if you're going to apply for Social Security disability. And it wasn't a sales pitch. I actually took a lot of our blogs that our attorneys had done and put it together. Here's step one, here's step two. Did you know this? Did you know that? And, quite a few people have really liked that because it really is a long process. What are the steps going through? So that becomes valued content.
Yeah, no question. And somebody was just asking, was there a website? Because they need an attorney right now. So I just was plugging in your website.
Thank you much.
Gotta love Blab, I guess.
That's right.
Generating leads is not the intention of today's call, for sure.
No.
So tell us a little bit, let's get down to sort of the nitty gritty. Again, take us as deep as you're comfortable taking us into. Maybe give us an example of some of the cool new things that you're doing at the law firm.
Well, one of the things we did, and we just relaunched our site, redesigned the site, did that launched the end of September. So if you take a look at it and you have any feedback, please shoot me an email, let me know what you think of it, because everything can always be better, always. But what we did, we are now doing landing pages, which we have created and did, real simple, down and dirty. We created a landing page about what do I need to do about, or what do I need to know about filing for Social Security disability? We promoted that. I did a paid campaign on Facebook and targeted some geographic areas that we were looking at, looked at some age groups. And if anybody's done online marketing, Facebook's pretty inexpensive, and used, and actually, should I plug that I'm using HubSpot? So I have my HubSpot sensei in front of me who taught me how to do that. But HubSpot, by using that, we were able to, people would click over there, I can track them, and then we put some autoresponder emails in place with some real short videos I already had of the partner in charge of it talking about Social Security disability, a couple that were client testimonials about not so much, I love Galantech, Boyes Noll Schaefer. I mean, that's a given, we all do. But that they said, hey, they helped me through because this is my situation, what I had to go through. So that has been, we've done one campaign with that, and it's been very successful. We converted better than I expected we would convert. And for me, a conversion is they've signed on to become a client.
That's right. I think one of the things that we talked about, and maybe a big reason why you were kind of kicking the tires on inbound in a piece of all-in-one marketing software to help manage that inbound game plan. And Dan mentioned HubSpot, but there are others out there, is really, I think, for you to have a better sense of from what you're doing from a marketing standpoint, certainly online, giving you a better sense of how effective that is being, and then having that data to reallocate some of your marketing budget to different areas.
One of the things, can I just jump in real quick, Pat? Because I'm so shy and I never talk. But one of the things I found so challenging since I've been at the firm is to try to really track down how much it costs us to get a client. We have a huge firm. We have, a lot of clients that come in. We have, 18 attorneys. So to truly track down, and especially in plaintiff law, a case can come in today and we don't settle it for 4 years or 5 years, depending on, if it's a major accident. Social Security disability on the average is 1.5 to 2 years. So how do we track all that back? I now have started Clean that we can now track, that I can put in their database file how much it cost me to convert that lead. How much did that cost it? Then that just becomes part of our account, as you will, of what we spent on that client, because plaintiff is different. If we don't win the case, we don't get paid. So it's just a way for us to track. And then again, as you said, Pat, it's a way for me to say, okay, that was a good idea, but it's not converting. And I'm actually doing, and I won't name names, but I'm also doing a campaign now where I'm actually paid and popping up on websites for, a company, and doing the same kind of campaign. And I've had zilch coming through from that, which tells me, okay, people are not searching when they're going to read a news site or whatever. They're not necessarily searching for what I have. It's branding, but it's not getting people to click over.
But you have all that nice juicy data to dig into.
Yes.
Now, and you can still use, these landing pages and something like a HubSpot with traditional marketing as well.
Right.
Just point people to a piece of content that you have available for anybody to download on a landing page that you're built in one of these tools. And you can really drill down and track where that traffic is coming from, conversions, and how many of those people that downloaded that piece of content ultimately became clients.
I never realized what a data walk I am. I love going back and tracking and saying, wow, this worked. And I used to teach a marketing class years ago, and I always said marketing was getting your message heard, motivating others to act on it, which was a real dumbed down version of what it is. But I love that I can now really track back and say, okay, somebody heard that. They followed through. I had the right wording. I had the right angle. I had the right appeal to the right person at the right time. Now, how do I, adapt that to other things we're going to do? And really, to keep flashing ads in front of people, we all do that. And it works. People know our name and it's branding. But to really get people engaged and come in either on social media or come in as a client or start emailing back from what they see, I have to deliver up something to them to make them feel like we're giving them something nobody else is. We're giving them information they need, or we're a simple thing like on our website, Gene and I recorded all of our attorneys saying why they became an attorney. They're not polished videos. They're just simple. This is why I did it. So you get to look at somebody, hear them, see them, how they talk, and get a sense of somebody so you feel a little bit more comfortable before you come in to see them. So.
Yeah, I love those videos.
Yeah.
What, were you nervous? Going down this path, it's sort of new, it's uncharted territory, maybe
yes.
not for, other industries, but generally the legal industry for the locally. What were some of the things that you were concerned about?
Then it would really show me if I'm wrong. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to go by your gut and say, yeah, I think that's working. Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Good about this. I got the buzz, man. And then find out really nobody's responding. It holds me more accountable to what I'm doing, which I like that. You certainly can't BS your way out of something if you look at it in black and white and say, this is just not working. My best idea in the world that I thought was fabulous doesn't work. So I like that accountability for myself. Of course, I like giving accountability back to my bosses, but this really is telling me by using that system much more what people are responding to or not. And just, even though I have good gut instincts, this tells me really. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's, on the other side of that coin is if you're in marketing, inevitably you've got the cocktail napkin slid over to you with ideas, whether it's CEOs that you might be working with, or presidents, or lawyers in your case, Jan, or physicians in some of the other business that I do. Some of them are great ideas. Others you just know aren't going to work. And I think in some cases, we just have to implement those ideas if we, like where we work and want to stay there for a while. But
Absolutely.
it kind of gives a little bit of data to go back to that group or that person and say, it was a good idea, it was a good try, but it really didn't work. Instead of going, I just don't think it's going to work. A lot of times that explanation doesn't work well when you're trying to.
I work for attorneys.
Something, yeah.
I know. Attorneys that are, feelings are great, but that's not what this is about. The laws, it's, things are black and white many times. This is a way that sometimes I think a couple ideas I've heard I don't think are great. This would give me a way to be able to measure that back to show that that's not great, or that I'm totally wrong and they're fabulous. Of course, I'd couch it a little differently than that, but it's really, I just think it's great. I love having more control and being able to be reactive, because honestly, I'm looking at the one thing that's not responding for me. I can yank it right now, change what we're going to do and try something different. That content's not appealing. It's too much. People, it's too much to read. They don't want to see it. I don't know, whatever. Or I'm not being, I don't want to say I guess my landing page language maybe isn't attractive enough to want to, that if I get 300 and some people looking at it, but I only have 2 people that actually request the information, what am I not saying? What am I not communicating correctly? But then I'm also a person that doesn't like to give up my name and email to get information. It has to be looking pretty compelling for me to do that. And so it gives me a good idea of what people want and what they don't want. Yeah,
that's great. You mentioned your new website. Again, for those who are interested, it's gallenlaw.com. Talk to us a little bit about how your new website plays, what role it plays in your inbound marketing efforts.
Well, the website, it certainly gives me a place to have more information to lead people to. Although I am using landing pages to actually draw them in from the campaign, which I'm hosting someplace else. But it gives me much more, I think this website is more, well, it's definitely responsive and it's got a lot of other things. And that Gene can actually, our IT guru can actually get in there and make changes for us as we couldn't do before, so we can respond quicker. But I think our website really is how we look to the world, and it's people's first impression of you. And if you look at our website, it definitely looks personal injury oriented. Workers' comp is also personal injury, that's up there, but we tried to make it a little bit cleaner, also to compete on an SEO standpoint. And thank God, Pat, you helped me with that, because that's not my forte. I understand theory and I understand what we need to do, but pulling the trigger and execution is much more you than me. But to try to make sure that the content we have on there is going to kind of drive in the kind of clients that we're looking for, the kind of traffic that we're looking for, and really be able to, especially with the new setup I have, measure it much easier to really look at where people are going and how long are they staying on the page. So, it's really, and thank you. Live Blab.
Live Blab. Say hello, whoever just walked in.
Hey, I got a check from the controller. Hey, you can walk in.
Hey, it's a good visit. You don't want to cut him out, her out.
So, but anyway, the new website always is going to be a work in progress, but it's much more, just look on it mobile. It's so much better than our old one. It's cleaner, much better calls to action. You can find your way around much better. And I think as we're rewriting all the content on the site as we go, and we have a huge site because we have tremendous library of blogs that were on there that we had to pull in. Wanted to pull in. Who wants to lose that content? But rewriting our content to really match up a little bit more of what we're trying to say and what we're trying to do, and work in progress every day.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful, beautiful new site. Just launched this recently, so love it. I think it's much more of a lead generator.
Absolutely.
Would you say? Yeah.
I think it really makes people look at it. There's more opportunities that they can do call for actions, that they can hit it and get information. We have the live chat, which we had before, but this live chat, we had another program that I just believe asked way too many questions, that too many things in a live chat. People are still kicking the tires a little bit. and they don't want to give up too much. And I always try to think in anything I do, not that I'm, the epitome of all that is out there, but I try to look at things as the person coming in, as the prospect, as the consumer. Am I comfortable answering those questions? No. I know that a company that we had used before on some of the questions, they were asking people's income level. I'm not giving that up to anybody.
Yeah.
So, this one is much more just, we'll address your question and get somebody in touch with you, which is very good. Turnaround's quick, it's fast, and we're able to make a call back to somebody who needs help right away. Yeah.
It was interesting. Somebody at Chuck Bartok just put a tweet out there. And ultimately just kind of around the topic of gated versus ungated content, meaning asking for a name, a telephone number, an email address, let alone income level. Give us a sense of, you do a blog, but give us a sense of how you're kind of managing that gated versus ungated content. I don't think you're asking for an email address or a name or telephone number for every piece of content that you're doing. Kind of talk to us a little bit about that, and then kind of roll into the content strategy moving forward for Gallon Tachus.
A lot of our content on the site, you just go find it. You can get it. You can download it. We have an extensive number of videos that you can watch. It's only usually our campaigns that we're doing, specifically with landing pages, that I ask for the first name, last name, and email. And I've even debated, and we've talked about that. Should I drop the names off and just put email on there? But because for me, I'm uncomfortable sometimes doing that on a personal level. But at this point, everybody knows anyway. I don't know why I still, maintain that I shouldn't tell. But when you come to reading our blog, anything you want off our blog, that's all wide open. If it's information and you can research, it goes back. We have, and our blogs are from labor, the labor movement. We have labor attorney write some very cool stuff. General practice areas, anything from landlord law to estate things. You can find a ton of information. It's out there. We have just tons and tons of blogs. So that absolutely, it's ungated. Go get the information, because then if you read something that makes sense to you, you may want to go, hey, yeah, I do think I want to talk to them. Or it gives you a better feeling that we were able to give you some information you needed, you wanted to know, and you didn't have to give up anything for it. So I would say I'd say it's 90-10, 90% of what we have, take it, use it, what you can. Yeah. And the rest of it is just some specific things that I'm doing some campaigns with in targeted areas for targeted pieces. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how, content is, everybody's talking about content. We have been for a while. Usually at the beginning of working with a client, they always say, well, I don't have anything interesting to say. And I don't think you ever said that.
No,
I have other clients. They never think that they've got anything interesting that other people want to engage with and consume. Law firms are a different breed altogether. I think the problem there becomes organizing that content in a strategic, logical manner. Talk to us a little bit about how you are organizing your content efforts moving forward. And you've got a blend. You develop some content, your lawyers and attorneys are creating content. I think you're also having some other people create content on your behalf. Right. How do you manage it all?
Well, I met this fascinating man named Patrick Giamarco with PWG Marketing, who took my ADD brain and helped me put it into an editorial calendar. It's really helped me quite a bit, and that doesn't mean that I haven't deviated off from it. But to really lay out for a year of what areas we want to focus on. We also do multi-district litigation, which is national litigation. The low testosterone cases, IVC filters. So we have so many different things, and some things break faster that we need to talk about. So we've tried to tie in through the next year, tying months of content into, distracted driving month. And I'm trying to think, there's a couple of motorcycle safety, which we've actually done for the last couple of years. And with that too, I'm also driving the television advertising we do with it, so that we design our TV commercials in the same. When I did motorcycle safety last May, June, July, August, and it starts in May, we launched new motorcycle safety and boating safety ads at the same time. So trying to pull all of this together and not just for our digital presence, but also what we do for in TV. We are also doing some radio ads here in town. So trying to pull all that together so that it's not just the same, we can solve all your problems in the world, call us, we can help, Galantakis. But this month, we're going to talk about nursing home abuse. These are things that happen, warning signs you need to look for. Next month, it could be, distracted driving and, which is, of course, I'm not guilty of that, but everybody is guilty of that. And I remember when I started to drive eons ago, was you could never drink, pop when you were in the car because you would be distracted from driving. And that was much, before. Yeah, I was way over time.
Yeah.
It said my age. So
other distractions now.
Yes, many other distractions that are much more addictive. But so we've really worked on putting that together and worked with, and I do have a company that's writing some content for me just because this was such a massive project, redoing the site and saying, here, this month I want to focus on this. So start putting that together, be that blog posts, infographics, any kind of thing that we can put out there that makes sense. Short video. I just shot one last week with one of our attorneys about no fault insurance in Michigan, because we're right on the Ohio-Michigan line, and it's a very different law in Michigan. And short, sweet, to the point, but that's been something that's been in the news. Had him shoot a video for us. So, try to stick to the calendar because it helps me stay organized. And I just took down my big board I had behind me with all my topics laid out.
Yeah. Where'd that go?
Yeah, well, because it looks cleaner and, instead of just head over my shoulder of a statue somebody gave me. But in Scooby-Doo on that side. But it keeps me more on task and more focused on, and I think from the receiving end, instead of just this wild jumble coming out, that it can be a little bit more consistent. And I'm not saying that every consumer listens that way or they consciously think about it, but it's just hard to keep shooting so many multiple messages. Let's just focus on this, and then let's focus on this, and people can start learning a little bit more about each one. Do our web content based on that, do a blog based on that. Makes more sense. So that's what I'm doing. So thank you, Pat.
Different kinds of content as well.
Absolutely.
I think we're focusing on that, serving up and creating content for different life cycle stages, if you will. I mean, you're going to into at Finley Matlock, who just posted something very similar to this. I think you create content for different purposes. In other words, to get found and how-to information and just pure out educational information. I think the content and what you offer people differs a little bit based on where they are in the buying cycle. I think we've got a good sense of where to go with that based on some of the data that we're pulling from email marketing efforts.
And I think that's
what's
true
next?
Because, you look at some things just on that point real quick. Some things like if you've been in an accident with a semi-truck and a semi-truck hits you, and you're not at fault, you can have up to 9, 10, 11 different insurance companies calling you from that truck because they represent the owner, the company, the load, all of those things. And if you're sitting there getting all these phone calls from insurance companies, you don't know what to do. One of the things we try to say is, hey, if this has ever happened to you, don't be surprised. This is what's going to happen. Everybody's going to call you and push you and push you and push you to settle. You don't have to do any of that. Just stop and take your breath. But don't be surprised because this is what's going to happen. Social Security disability, apply on your own. We encourage people, they can apply on their own the first time. We will actually help them file their paperwork. We don't charge them for that. But most people get turned down the first time. So it's where you at in that cycle, and knowing if you've been turned down, you only have so many days to appeal it. There's just a lot of different things that everybody's kind of on a different timeline, but to make sure that you have some information that addresses all of that out there that they can find.
Yeah. So what's next? What's next for you? What's next for Galantakis in this new world of inbound marketing?
Well, for me, I think it's lunchtime in about 20 minutes.
20 to 12 here in the East Coast.
For me personally, I absolutely love what I'm doing, and I'm a person who likes to learn new things all the time. I've always said, if somebody paid me to go to school full time, I would do it. I love to learn. I love to try new things. and expand what I'm doing. I love learning new technology, learning more that, we're doing with all the inbound marketing and different campaigns. In the legal field, we tend to be way behind the curve. That it's a little hard to adapt change. But then we also have the challenge of every state has different ethics that we have to follow, an ethical code. And so in Ohio is a little bit different than Michigan. So I have to be very careful on anything we do that we stay within those ethics. Even though I'm not an attorney, I'm representing attorneys. So I think what we're doing right now with these campaigns are so exciting to take a look at what we could do. What are people really asking for? And I took a look at our online chats and all of our emails coming in. What are people asking, when they email us? And then I take that and then try to address that back to say, hey, I've just had, 3 people in the last week come through and ask about such and such. We should probably blog on that. Or we're also, we're on Channel 13 here in town, the ABC affiliate, the Ask the Expert every Thursday, that I'll make sure that our attorneys are aware. A lot of people are asking about this question. Last winter with all the snow that we had and sidewalks and all those kind of things that come around every year, do we have to shovel the sidewalks? Try to keep people on top of things so that we can address that. So this just gives me such a different avenue. I mean, I've heard inbound marketing. I've heard that term for years.
Yeah.
But now that I can really comprehend what I can do with it for our firm and what a difference it makes, it's going to make us stand out from everybody else, because bias alert, we're better than everybody else anyway. But now I can really show that in different ways. That bottom line, people only call us if they're at the worst point in their lives. There's some horrible things have happened to them, an accident, they've lost their job because they've been hurt, they've lost a family member. They're at the lowest point. So if I can make that tiny bit of their life easier, that we can make it easier for them to find the content they need, put them in touch with somebody that they need to talk to, or just help them figure out, even if they never call us, that they have an estate issue, that they've lost a family member and what happened, or a family member is sick. This is what you need to do to get in place, even if they don't call us, but it makes them in their life and that struggle a little bit better. That's great. That's important. Yeah. So.
And kudos to your lighting guy. I was going to mention this later. You had a nice natural light sheen on your left side. That was kudos to whoever set up the lighting structure there.
It was the sun coming through the trees. And I told you I was going to slap some Vaseline on the lens so I looked really Sybil Shepherd in Moonlighting all those years ago.
Well, and you actually brought Blab to the table with your partner group. And they jumped at the chance to do a Blab session. I think it's still maybe figuring that out, but
I think you have to remember though, attorneys always go, no. Okay, what? Let's discuss that in a minute. What does that really mean? I think that it was understanding the difference from Periscope to Blab. And Periscope's a great platform, but they all kind of thought that, or what's Snapchat? And everything is different and hits a different market. And one of the things I thought particularly for us, because there's so many things happening on the national level about some of the different lawsuits going on and things that FDA alerts that come out all the time, that, we have a couple of attorneys that are real interested in sitting and just talking about this. And I said, frankly, well, Pat, you and I have talked quite a while. Of course, it took me a while to get into this, but
like half hour.
Yeah. But, we don't want to drag it out more than maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but hey, here's the latest thing that's going on with Low T right now. What you need to be aware of, there's timelines. And if you haven't gotten that checked out, you need to, or some things are happening you need to know about. We put that information on our website. We run FDA alerts, but come on, it's kind of scary sometimes, everything that's going on out there, that you have to be careful of what you take. So, there's some interest in doing this. I'm the guinea pig to be thrown out here because I usually always stick them in front of the camera and not me. But this was an opportunity for us to figure out where to plug in. And what
I was kind of kicking the tires a little bit. At Mark Leonard asked the question, have you guys done Hangouts, Google Hangouts at all?
No, Jan? We have not.
No.
We have not.
I've done a handful of those, and at Mark Leonard asked, what's the difference between Google Hangouts and Blab? Honestly, I don't know if I see a whole lot of difference yet. People in, feel free to add your perspective in there. I like it. I like it. I know you can record it. I think you can do that with Google Hangouts as well. I think it ties in with Twitter. Jan's going to take a pause and answer her phone.
No, I'm trying to hit the button to go to voicemail and not speaker and answer. Yeah. I forgot to put that on meeting. Sorry about that.
But I like it. And I just think, we just kind of wanted to jump on here and maybe bored people to death. I don't know, maybe half to death. I don't know. But it was very educational for me, Jan. I've enjoyed working with you. I enjoyed getting to know some people over at the law firm, and just kind of wanted to have a conversation around inbound marketing with legal firms and law firms. And
I do have to give a shout out, though, because I see that Mike Drehorst is on here. And Mike Drehorst, Pat, you, Alan Morales, you guys were really influential to me when this new phenomenon called social media first started hitting the business world. Gosh, how long ago was that when you guys started doing the social media breakfast clubs?
Yeah, social media breakfast Toledo. That was at least 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah. And it was this newfangled thing. And I worked at a very conservative organization at the time that was like, no. Somebody might say something negative about us. But from my own personal aspect, I got on there. And you and Mike have been such great mentors to me that I pick your brain and say, hey, what's going on out there? And you guys have been good. So, hey, thanks, Mike. If you're still listening, I still see your picture up there. But, yeah.
Yeah. For me, 10 years ago, it was just a matter of learning this as a marketing communications professional working in corporate America, and not getting that digital side of things to the degree that I wanted to or and needed to professionally. I just immersed myself because I knew that was the way, or I sensed that was the way marketing communications was going. And so, there were 5 or 6 of us that started this thing called Social Media Breakfast Toledo 8, 9 years ago. And
some great speakers, and those guys are like really, some of the speakers you brought in are like nationally known guys now. So
yeah, we just came across one. His name is escaping me now, but yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun. Great. I learned a lot, and I still look at you guys sometimes to see what you're doing, so I can totally rip off ideas and present it as original to me. Kidding, I don't do that very often.
It was a good conversation around using Blab for webinars as well. I don't think there's a screen sharing capability, at least I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
Yeah.
But webinars, maybe not yet, but it's great. Somebody mentioned it's great for that conversation, which I wholeheartedly agree. It was a little bit intimidating at first, but
yeah. And, I'm always a little technically challenged, which was interesting because I started my career in college years ago behind the camera as a tech person. So, but that's what I had kids for. I don't have to do that anymore. They figure it out. I call them when they're out of state. Hey, how do I program this? I don't have to do it. But it was interesting when jumping back to talking about Blab, I presented this to some of our attorneys at a marketing lunch. And so I had Blab up there live. And there was one that I found so fascinating the day before. It was the 4 women doing crafts. And I couldn't turn it off. I just kept watching these 4 women making a paper flower and crocheting. And so I was trying to find something to show them. And we jumped into a Blab that was going on. And I won't repeat what was exactly said at that time. But I went, oh, my God, jumped right out. They all laughed hysterically because it was a very sexual comment being made. And they said, oh, so you want to say this? And it was pretty funny. I mean, it was just taken out of context. It was very funny. But anyway, since then, I told him I was going to try this and talk about what we do. And, hey, I want to show off Pat a little bit of what he's taught us. So, yeah. So
cool.
far, this has been painless, and nobody has said, wow, she looks really old. So that's good.
And the lighting's phenomenal. That high def webcam that you bought.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Well, this has been great. I don't know how to end these Blab sessions, so I guess we'll just end it.
No, should I tug on my ear like Carol Burnett?
There you go.
So, yeah, I could sing.
Well, thanks everybody who gave us a little bit of their time dialing in. And Jan, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pat.
Seeing you and speaking with you again. I'm sure we'll be talking very soon.
Okay, great.
Thanks everybody. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Bye-bye.